Captain Kevin Ace Martinez had seen it all in his 15 years as Earth's top fighter pilot. He'd flown through asteroid fields, battled space pirates, and even survived a black hole's edge. But nothing had prepared him for the distress signal that crackled through his ship's communication system at 0300 hours on a Tuesday morning. Earth vessel, this is Commander Zara of the Celestial Dawn. We are in desperate need of assistance. Our ship is damaged and we are being pursued by hostile forces. Please respond. The voice was unmistakably feminine, melodic, and carried an accent Kevin had never heard before. He rubbed his eyes and checked his scanners. Sure enough, there was an unknown vessel approximately 50,000 miles out, moving fast and erratically. This is Captain Kevin Martinez of the Earth Defense Force, he responded, already firing up his engines. I'm reading your position. What's your situation? Captain Martinez, thank the stars. We are refugees from the Andromeda sector. Our ship was attacked by the Vorthan Empire. Our hyperdrive is failing and they're closing in. We need immediate escort to a safe harbor. Kevin's training kicked in. The Vorthan Empire was bad news, a militaristic alien race that had been expanding aggressively across the galaxy. If they were chasing refugees, those refugees needed help. Copy that, Commander Zara. I'm launching now. ETA 12 minutes. As Kevin's sleek fighter, the Starhawk, streaked through space, he couldn't shake the feeling that this mission would be different. The distress call had come through on an encrypted channel that very few beings in the galaxy knew about. Whoever these aliens were, they had connections. When the refugee ship came into view, Kevin's jaw dropped. The Celestial Dawn was unlike any vessel he'd ever seen. It was elegant and organic looking, with flowing curves that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Despite obvious battle damage along its hull, it was still breathtakingly beautiful. Wow! Kevin muttered to himself. Captain Martinez, we see you approaching, came Zara's voice. Thank you for responding so quickly. Just doing my job, Commander. I'm going to need you to transmit your ship specifications so I can plan our route to the nearest safe port. Transmitting now. Captain, I should warn you, the Vorthans are persistent. They've been chasing us for 3 days straight. As the data flowed into Kevin's systems, he studied the information about the Celestial Dawn. The ship was from a race called the Luminari, known for their advanced technology and peaceful nature. The crew manifest showed 5 members, all with names he couldn't pronounce. Commander, what's your ship's maximum speed with the damaged hyperdrive? We can manage about 60% of normal velocity, perhaps 70 if we push it, but we risk complete engine failure. Kevin ran quick calculations. The nearest Earth Defense Force base was 6 hours away at the Celestial Dawn's reduced speed. That was a long time to stay ahead of pursuers. All right, here's what we're going to do, Kevin said. I'm going to escort you toward Station Alpha 7. It's heavily defended and has repair facilities. We'll take a roundabout route through the Titan asteroid field. That should give us some cover and make it harder for the Vorthans to track us. Understood, Captain. We're ready to follow your lead. As they began their journey, Kevin found himself curious about his charges. Commander, if you don't mind me asking, what did you do to make the Vorthans so angry? There was a pause before Zara responded. We were part of a diplomatic mission to negotiate peace between the Vorthans and the Centauri Alliance. When talks broke down, the Vorthans accused us of espionage. We barely escaped with our lives. I'm sorry to hear that. Politics can be messy out here. Indeed. Captain, may I ask you something? Shoot. Your reputation precedes you. They call you Ace Martinez, do they not? The pilot who single-handedly held off the Craven fleet at the Battle of Neptune's Ring. Kevin felt his cheeks warm slightly. Word travels fast in space. Yeah, that was me. Though single-handedly is a bit of an exaggeration. I think you're being modest. We Luminari value skill and bravery above most things. It's an honor to have you as our protector. Before Kevin could respond, his proximity alarms started blaring. 3 ships had just dropped out of hyperspace behind them, sleek, aggressive-looking vessels with the distinctive angular design of Vorthan warships. Commander, we've got company, Kevin announced, his training taking over. 3 Vorthan interceptors, closing fast. We see them, Captain. What are your orders? Kevin's mind raced through options. The Celestial Dawn was too damaged to outrun the interceptors, and Kevin's single fighter was outnumbered 3-1. But he'd faced worse odds before. Stay on course for the asteroid field, he instructed. I'm going to buy us some time. Captain, no. You can't take on 3 Vorthan ships alone. Watch me. Kevin banked hard to starboard, putting his fighter between the pursuers and the refugee ship. The Starhawk was one of Earth's most advanced fighters, equipped with plasma cannons and quantum torpedoes. More importantly, it was piloted by someone who'd never lost a dogfight. The lead Vorthan ship opened fire, sending green energy bolts streaking past Kevin's cockpit. He rolled inverted and dove, coming up behind the attacker in a classic pincer maneuver. His plasma cannons lit up the void, scoring direct hits on the enemy's shields. Take that, you space bully, Kevin muttered, pulling into a sharp turn to avoid return fire. The second Vorthan ship tried to flank him, but Kevin was ready. He fired a quantum torpedo that caught the enemy vessel amidships, sending it spinning out of control. The explosion lit up his cockpit in brilliant blues and whites. 2 down, 1 to go, he said into his comm. Captain Martinez, you're incredible, came Zara's excited voice. But the third ship is moving to intercept us directly. Kevin looked at his tactical display and cursed. The remaining Vorthan interceptor had broken off from the dogfight and was heading straight for the Celestial Dawn. At its current speed, it would reach the refugee ship before Kevin could catch up. Commander, can your ship's weapons handle 1 interceptor? Our defensive systems are damaged, Captain. We're nearly helpless. Kevin pushed his engines to maximum burn, racing to intercept the Vorthan ship. The distance closed agonizingly slowly. He was still 30 seconds out when the enemy opened fire on the Celestial Dawn. We're hit, Zara reported. Hull breach on Deck 3. Captain, I don't think we can take another attack like that. Kevin's jaw tightened. These were innocent refugees being hunted by military aggressors. There was no way he was going to let them be destroyed on his watch. Hold on, Commander. I'm coming. Kevin made a decision that went against every rule in the pilot's handbook. Instead of trying to shoot down the Vorthan ship, he aimed his fighter directly at it and hit full afterburners. Captain, what are you doing? Zara's voice was filled with alarm. Something really stupid or really brilliant. Haven't decided which yet. At the last possible second, Kevin fired all his remaining weapons and pulled up hard. The combined impact of his weapons and the Vorthan ship's evasive maneuvers sent the enemy vessel tumbling into a nearby asteroid. The explosion was spectacular. Kevin's fighter had taken damage from flying through the debris field, but his shields had held. More importantly, the threat was eliminated. All hostiles down, he reported. Commander, what's your status? We're alive, thanks to you, Captain. But that last hit damaged our navigation system. We're flying blind. Kevin checked his own systems. His long-range communications were damaged, but everything else was functional. No problem. I can guide you to Station Alpha 7. Just stay close and follow my lead. As they limped through space together, Kevin found himself thinking about the voice on the other end of the communication channel. Commander Zara had remained calm and professional throughout the battle, but there had been something else in her tone. A warmth that made him curious about the person behind the voice. Captain, Zara said as they approached the asteroid field, I cannot adequately express our gratitude. You risked your life for complete strangers. Like I said, just doing my job. I think it's more than that. You're a rare individual, Kevin Martinez. The way she said his name sent an unexpected flutter through his chest. What makes you say that? In our travels, we've encountered many species, many individuals. Most would have calculated the odds and decided we weren't worth the risk. You didn't hesitate. The galaxy's got enough bullies in it. Someone's got to stand up for the little guy. Even when the little guy isn't human? Kevin considered that. It was true that not all of Earth's pilots would have responded so quickly to an alien distress call. Prejudice and fear of the unknown were still common problems, even in the space age. People are people, he said finally. Doesn't matter what planet they're from or what they look like. If someone's in trouble and I can help, I'm going to help. There was a long pause before Zara responded. You continue to impress me, Captain. As they navigated through the asteroid field, Kevin began to relax. The natural cover of the floating rocks would make it nearly impossible for any other Vorthan ships to track them, and they were making good time toward the station. Commander, can you tell me more about your people? I've heard of the Luminari, but I don't know much about your culture. We are explorers and diplomats by nature, Zara explained. Our world values knowledge, beauty, and harmony. We believe that conflicts should be resolved through understanding rather than violence. Sounds like a nice place to live. It is. Or was. The Vorthans have made our sector of space very dangerous lately. Many of our people have become refugees. Kevin felt a surge of anger at the injustice of it. What's their problem? Why are they so aggressive? They believe that might makes right, that the strong should rule over the weak. It's the opposite of everything we stand for. Well, they picked the wrong refugees to mess with today. As they emerged from the asteroid field, Station Alpha 7 came into view. The massive space station was a welcome sight, its docking bays glowing with warm light against the darkness of space. Station Alpha 7. This is Captain Martinez requesting emergency, docking for a refugee vessel. Kevin transmitted. Copy that, Captain Martinez. We have you on our screens. Bay 7 is open and ready. Medical teams are standing by. Thanks, Control. The refugee ship is heavily damaged and will need extensive repairs. As they approached the station, Kevin finally got his first good look at the Celestial Dawn in proper lighting. Even damaged, it was the most beautiful ship he'd ever seen. Its hull seemed to be made of some kind of living metal that shifted between silver and gold, and despite the battle scars, it retained an elegant grace. Commander, you're cleared for docking in Bay 7. I'll be right behind you in Bay 8. Acknowledged, Captain. And Kevin. Yes. Thank you. For everything. After docking procedures were complete, Kevin made his way to Bay 7 to check on the refugees. He told himself it was standard protocol to debrief after a rescue mission, but if he was being honest, he was curious to meet the woman behind the voice that had captivated him during their journey. The docking bay was bustling with activity as station personnel helped unload the Celestial Dawn. Kevin watched as 5 figures emerged from the ship, and his breath caught in his throat. The Luminari were stunning. They were humanoid in basic shape but taller and more elegant than humans, with an almost ethereal quality. Their skin had a subtle luminescence, as if lit from within, and their features were refined and symmetrical. They moved with a fluid grace that reminded Kevin of dancers. But it was the woman leading the group who made Kevin's heart skip a beat. She had to be Commander Zara. She was tall, probably 6 feet, with long silver hair that seemed to flow like liquid mercury. Her skin had a soft golden glow, and her eyes were the deepest blue Kevin had ever seen. She wore a form-fitting uniform that accentuated her elegant figure, and when she smiled at the station personnel helping her crew, Kevin felt his knees go weak. She spotted him across the bay and their eyes met. Her smile widened, and she walked over with that same fluid grace he'd noticed in her crew. Captain Martinez, she said, extending her hand. Commander Zara of the Celestial Dawn. We meet at last. Kevin took her hand, surprised by how warm and soft it was. The pleasure's all mine, Commander. I'm glad you and your crew made it safely. Thanks to you. She held his gaze, and Kevin felt that flutter in his chest again. I was hoping we might have a chance to talk more privately. There are things I'd like to discuss with you. Of course, there's a good restaurant on level 5 of the station. Maybe we could grab dinner once you've gotten your crew settled. I'd like that very much. 2 hours later, Kevin found himself sitting across from Zara in the station's finest restaurant, still hardly believing this beautiful alien woman had agreed to have dinner with him. She had changed out of her uniform into a flowing dress that seemed to shift colors like her ship's hull. You clean up nice, Commander, Kevin said, immediately feeling foolish for the comment. Zara laughed, a sound like silver bells. As do you, Captain, though I must say, I prefer Kevin to Captain Martinez. Kevin it is. And what should I call you? Commander seems pretty formal for dinner. Just Zara, please. They talked for hours. Zara told him about her homeworld, a planet of crystal cities and floating gardens. She described the Luminaries' philosophy of living in harmony with their environment and their dedication to peaceful exploration of the galaxy. Kevin found himself sharing more than he usually did with anyone. He told her about growing up on a farming colony, about losing his parents in a pirate raid, and about how that loss had driven him to become a fighter pilot. So you've been fighting injustice your whole career, Zara observed. That explains why you didn't hesitate to help us. I guess I've always had a problem with bullies, Kevin admitted, whether they're picking on farm kids or chasing refugees across the galaxy. It's an admirable quality. My people could use more allies like you. What will you do now? Your ship needs major repairs, and it's not safe for you to return to your sector. Zara's expression grew serious. That's what I wanted to discuss with you. Kevin, what I'm about to tell you must remain confidential. Kevin leaned forward, intrigued. You have my word. We weren't just diplomats fleeing the Vorthons. We're part of a resistance movement. There are many species in our sector who are suffering under Vorthon aggression, and we're trying to organize them into a unified defense. That's dangerous work. Yes, but necessary. The Vorthons won't stop with our sector. They have their sights set on expansion across the entire galaxy. Eventually, they'll reach Earth. Kevin felt a chill run down his spine. How long do we have? Our intelligence suggests they're planning a major offensive within the next 2 years. Kevin, Earth's military is impressive, but you're not prepared for the scale of what's coming. What can we do? Zara reached across the table and took his hand. Help us build the resistance. Use your skills and your reputation to rally other species to our cause. Together, we might be able to stop them before they become unstoppable. Kevin looked into her incredible blue eyes and saw the passion and determination there. This wasn't just about her people anymore. It was about the future of the entire galaxy. What would you need from me? Your ship, your skills, and your courage. We need pilots who can train others, who can lead by example. The Resistance has ships, but we lack experienced combat pilots. Kevin thought about his comfortable life as an Earth Defense Force pilot, his apartment overlooking the Pacific, his routine missions. Then he thought about the Vorthons destroying peaceful worlds, turning people like Zara into refugees. When do we start? Zara's face lit up with joy and relief. You'll do it? You'll join us? Someone's got to stand up to the bullies, Kevin said with a grin. Besides, I've gotten kind of attached to keeping you and your crew safe. Zara squeezed his hand. Kevin Martinez, you continue to amaze me. Just one condition, Kevin said. I need to report back to Earth first. Let them know what's coming. They deserve a chance to prepare. Of course. In fact, that would be helpful. If Earth joins the Resistance officially, it would encourage other species to do the same. Over the next few days, as the Celestial Dawn underwent repairs, Kevin and Zara spent more time together. He showed her around the station, introduced her to human culture, and found himself falling harder for her with each passing hour. She was brilliant, funny, and shared his sense of justice. More than that, she seemed to understand him in a way that no one ever had. When she looked at him, he felt like he could be more than just a pilot. He could be a hero. On their last night before departing for Earth, they stood together on the station's observation deck, looking out at the stars. I never expected this, Zara said softly. What? Finding someone like you. In all our travels, all the species we've encountered, I never met anyone who made me feel the way you do. Kevin's heart pounded. Zara, She turned to face him, and he saw his own feelings reflected in her eyes. Without another word, she stepped closer and kissed him. It was soft and warm and perfect, and Kevin felt like he was floating among the stars. When they finally broke apart, Zara smiled. I hope this won't complicate our working relationship. Kevin laughed. I think we can manage to be professional. Most of the time. The next morning, Kevin prepared his ship for the journey to Earth. His mission parameters had certainly changed from what he'd expected when he answered that distress call. He was no longer just escorting refugees to safety. He was about to become part of a galaxy-wide resistance movement. As the Starhawk and the newly repaired Celestial Dawn prepared to depart Station Alpha 7, Kevin felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He was leaving behind everything familiar to venture into the unknown, but he wasn't doing it alone. Earth Control, this is Captain Martinez requesting permission to return to Sol System with an allied vessel. Kevin transmitted. Permission granted, Captain. Welcome home. Commander Zara, are you ready to see Earth? I've been looking forward to it, came her voice over the comm. Lead the way, Captain. As their ships jumped to hyperspace, Kevin smiled to himself. A week ago, he'd been a simple fighter pilot with a routine job. Now he was in love with a beautiful alien commander and about to help save the galaxy. Sometimes the best adventures started with answering a call for help. The journey to Earth took 18 hours, giving Kevin plenty of time to think about how he was going to explain everything to his superiors. How do you tell your commanding officer that you've joined an alien resistance movement and, oh, by the way, you're in love with their leader? Kevin. Zara's voice came over the private channel they'd established. Are you nervous about the reception we'll receive on Earth? A little, he admitted. Humans can be suspicious of outsiders. But once they meet you and hear what you have to say, I think they'll come around. I hope so. A lot depends on Earth's cooperation. Don't worry. You've got me vouching for you, and that carries some weight in military circles. When Earth appeared in their viewports, a beautiful blue marble against the backdrop of space, Kevin felt a surge of pride for his homeworld. But he also felt a protective fear. This was what the Vorthans wanted to destroy or conquer. It's beautiful, Zara said, wonder in her voice. I can see why you love it so much. Wait until you see it up close. I want to show you the oceans, the mountains, maybe take you to where I grew up. I'd like that very much. As they approached Earth's orbital defenses, Kevin transmitted his identification codes and requested clearance for both ships. There was a tense moment as Earth Defense Command verified his identity and the presence of an unknown alien vessel. Captain Martinez, you are cleared for docking at Station Luna 1. The alien vessel is to maintain minimum safe distance and await escort. Understood. Control. The alien vessel is friendly and carries important intelligence regarding a potential threat to Earth. That got their attention quickly. Within minutes, Kevin found himself in communication with Admiral Sarah Chun, commander of Earth Space Forces and his ultimate superior. Captain Martinez, I need a full briefing on this situation immediately. Who are these aliens and what kind of threat are we talking about? Admiral, with respect, this is too important for a calm briefing. I need to speak with you in person, and I recommend you hear what Commander Zara has to say directly. There was a pause. Commander Zara? The leader of the refugee group I rescued. Admiral, what she has to tell us could change everything. We need to convene an emergency session of the Defense Council. Another pause, longer this time. Captain, your reputation gives you considerable credibility, but you're asking me to trust an unknown alien species with our highest security clearance. Admiral, these people risked their lives to warn us about what's coming. They didn't have to do that. They could have just kept running. All right, Captain. Both ships are cleared for docking. We'll hold the briefing in Conference Room Alpha. But Kevin. Yes, ma'am. This better be as important as you're making it sound. It is, Admiral. I promise you that. 3 hours later, Kevin stood in Earth Defense Command's most secure briefing room, watching as Admiral Chen and the 5 other members of the Defense Council studied the intelligence data Zara had provided. The Luminary commander sat calmly beside him, having presented her case with the same grace and poise she showed in everything else. The room was silent except for the soft hum of computers processing the mountain of information about Vorthan military capabilities, expansion plans, and projected timelines for their assault on human space. Finally, Admiral Chun looked up from her tablet. Commander Zara, if this intelligence is accurate, we're looking at the greatest threat humanity has ever faced. I'm afraid it's all accurate, Admiral, Zara replied. The Vorthans have been planning this expansion for decades. They've perfected their tactics by conquering dozens of other species. General Martinez, no relation to Kevin, despite the name, leaned forward. What makes you think this resistance movement of yours can succeed where so many others have failed? Because this time we're organizing before the Vorthans can divide and conquer us individually. If we can unite enough species, combine our technologies and tactics, we can present a unified front they won't be able to overcome. And you want Earth to be part of this alliance? Asked Admiral Chin. Earth's military reputation is well known throughout the galaxy, Zara said. Your pilots are particularly respected. If Earth joins the resistance, other species will follow your lead. Kevin spoke up. Admiral, I've seen what the Vorthans do to peaceful species. They're not interested in coexistence or negotiation. They want conquest, pure and simple. We can either fight them now as part of an organized resistance, or face them later when they're stronger and we're alone. The council members exchanged glances. Kevin could see the weight of the decision settling on their shoulders. They were being asked to commit Earth to a galactic war against an enemy they'd never faced. Commander Zara, Admiral Chun said finally, we need time to consider this proposal. In the meantime, you and your crew are welcome to remain as our guests. Thank you, Admiral. I understand the magnitude of what we're asking. As the meeting broke up, Admiral Chun pulled Kevin aside. Captain, a word in private? When they were alone, the Admiral studied Kevin's face carefully. Kevin, you've served with distinction for 15 years. Your judgment has always been sound. So I'm going to ask you directly, do you trust these aliens? Kevin didn't hesitate. Completely, Admiral. I've seen them under pressure, in combat, in crisis. They're exactly what they claim to be. Refugees fighting for their survival and the survival of others. And your personal feelings toward their commander? Don't think I haven't noticed how you look at her. Kevin felt his cheeks redden. My personal feelings don't change the facts, Admiral. The threat is real. The intelligence is valid, and we need to act. Admiral Chin nodded slowly. All right, Captain. I'm going to recommend to the President that Earth join this resistance. But I want you to continue as our liaison with the Luminary forces. You understand them better than anyone else on our side. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Kevin. If we do this, you'll be spending a lot of time away from Earth, probably in considerable danger. Are you prepared for that? Kevin thought about Zara, about her people, about all the species suffering under Vorthan oppression. He thought about the possibility of the Vorthans reaching Earth, threatening his homeworld and everyone he cared about. I'm ready, Admiral. Over the following weeks, as Earth's government debated joining the resistance, Kevin and Zara grew closer. He showed her around Earth, taking her to the Grand Canyon, the Swiss Alps, and the coral reefs of Australia. She marveled at Earth's diversity and beauty, understanding better why Kevin was so passionate about protecting it. In return, she taught him about Luminary culture, their art, their music, their philosophy of living in harmony with the universe. Kevin found himself adopting some of their meditation techniques, finding a peace he'd never known before. One evening, as they walked along a beach in California, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors, Zara took his hand. Kevin, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? When this war begins, and it will begin, there's a good chance we won't both survive it. The Vorthans are ruthless, and will be primary targets. Kevin stopped walking and turned to face her. Zara, let me finish. I need you to know that these past few weeks with you have been the happiest of my life. Whatever happens, I want you to know that I love you. Kevin's heart swelled with emotion. I love you too, Zara, and we're going to survive this. Both of us. We're going to build this resistance, defeat the Vorthans, and then I'm going to show you every beautiful place on Earth. She smiled, that radiant smile that had captivated him from the first moment he saw her. Promise me. I promise. They kissed as the sun set over the Pacific, and Kevin felt a certainty settle over him. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever dangers they would face, he and Zara would face them together. The next morning brought news that changed everything. Earth's president had announced that humanity would join the galactic resistance against Vorthan expansion. More than that, Earth would serve as the coordination center for the resistance, with Admiral Chun as Supreme Allied Commander. Kevin found himself promoted to colonel and placed in charge of all resistance pilot training programs. His first assignment: travel with Zara to Allied worlds and help organize their defense forces. As Kevin packed his belongings for what might be a very long deployment, he reflected on how much his life had changed since that night he answered a distress call. He'd gone from a simple fighter pilot to a key figure in a galactic war, from a bachelor with a routine life to a man in love with an extraordinary woman fighting for the freedom of countless worlds. Standing on the observation deck of the Celestial Dawn, now his new home, Kevin watched Earth shrink to a point of light behind them. Somewhere out there, the Vorthons were massing their forces, preparing to sweep across the galaxy like a plague of destruction. But they would find the galaxy ready for them this time. Species that had never worked together were uniting, sharing technology and tactics, building an alliance that spanned star systems. And at the heart of it all was the connection between a human fighter pilot and a Luminary commander, proving that love could indeed conquer all, even the vast distances between worlds. "Ready for our next adventure?" Zara asked, joining him at the viewport. Kevin put his arm around her, pulling her close. "With you? I'm ready for anything." As the Celestial Dawn jumped to hyperspace, beginning their mission to unite the galaxy against tyranny, Kevin smiled. He'd answered a call for help from a gorgeous alien crew, and in return, he'd found his destiny among the stars. The war ahead would be difficult, dangerous, and costly, but with Zara beside him and the growing resistance behind them, Kevin was confident they would prevail. After all, when good people stand together against evil, hope always has a fighting chance. And sometimes, when you're very lucky, you find love along the way. 3 months after leaving Earth, Kevin and Zara had visited 12 different star systems, each with its own unique species and challenges. The resistance was growing, but so was the urgency. Vorthon scout ships had been spotted in 3 new sectors, indicating their expansion was accelerating. Kevin stood in the Celestial Dawn's war room, studying a holographic map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Vorthon-controlled territory, blue dots showed resistance allies, and yellow indicated neutral or uncommitted systems. The red was spreading like a disease. "The Crystalline Coalition just agreed to join us," Zara announced, entering the room with a satisfied smile. "That's their entire fleet, over 200 ships." "Excellent news," Kevin replied, updating the map. Another cluster of systems shifted from yellow to blue. "How are their pilots?" "Skilled, but they've never faced anything like Vorthon tactics. They'll need training." Kevin nodded. Training new pilots had become his specialty over the past months. Each species had different strengths. The crystallines were excellent at formation flying. The aquatic tritans were masters of underwater combat, which translated surprisingly well to asteroid field fighting. And the silicon-based rocklings were nearly indestructible but slow. "I've been thinking," Kevin said, marking several strategic points on the map. "Instead of training each species separately, what if we created mixed squadrons? Combined different abilities into unified fighting units?" Zara moved closer, studying his proposed formations. Her proximity still made Kevin's heart race, even after all these months together. "That's brilliant. A crystalline formation leader, Tritan scouts, rockling heavy fighters." "Exactly. The Vorthons are used to fighting individual species with predictable tactics. Mixed formations would throw them off balance." Their discussion was interrupted by an urgent chime from the communication system. Lieutenant Kess, Zara's second-in-command, appeared on the screen looking worried. "Commander, we're receiving a priority distress signal from the Harmony sector. The planet Serenity is under attack." Kevin felt his blood run cold. Serenity was home to the Peaceful Ones, a species so committed to nonviolence they didn't even have weapons. They were artists, philosophers, and healers who had joined the resistance only to provide medical support. "How long until we can reach them?" Zara asked. 18 hours at maximum speed," Kess replied. "Too long," Kevin muttered. "By the time we get there, it'll be over." Zara was already moving toward the bridge. Send out an emergency call to all resistance ships in the area. And contact the Stellar Rangers. They have a base only 6 hours from Serenity. The Stellar Rangers were a loose confederation of independent pilots and mercenaries. They weren't officially part of the resistance, but they often helped when the price was right or the cause was just. As the Celestial Dawn raced toward Serenity, Kevin coordinated with every available ship in the sector. The response was encouraging. 12 resistance vessels and 6 ranger ships were converging on the planet. It still might not be enough, but it was something. Kevin, Zara said privately over their personal comm channel, I need to tell you something about Serenity. What is it? It's not just their homeworld under attack. Serenity is where we've been hiding our main medical facility. If the Vorthans capture it, they'll have access to detailed files on every resistance member who's been treated there. Kevin understood immediately. It wasn't just about saving the peaceful ones. It was about protecting the entire resistance network. How many people are we talking about? Medical records for over 50,000 resistance fighters, including their home worlds, family members, everything. The stakes had just gotten much higher. Kevin began recalculating their approach strategy, factoring in the need to either defend or destroy the medical facility. When they arrived at Serenity, the scene was worse than Kevin had imagined. The planet's surface was dotted with fires, and debris from destroyed orbital platforms drifted in space. 6 massive Vorthan dreadnoughts surrounded the world like predators circling wounded prey. This is Colonel Kevin Martinez to all resistance forces, he broadcast on the emergency frequency. I'm taking tactical command of this operation. All ships, report your status. The responses came quickly. They had 23 ships total against 6 dreadnoughts and an unknown number of fighters. Under normal circumstances, it would be suicide. But these weren't normal circumstances. Attention all pilots, Kevin continued. We're not here to win a straight fight. Our mission is to evacuate the medical facility and get those records out safely. Strike Team Alpha, you're with me. We're going in fast and low to extract the data. Strike Team Beta, create a diversion on the far side of the planet. Everyone else, keep those dreadnoughts busy. As the battle plan unfolded, Kevin felt the familiar calm that always came over him in combat situations. This was what he'd been born to do, and not just fly and fight, but lead others in impossible situations. The Celestial Dawn dove toward the planet's surface, using the larger ship's sensor shadow to hide Kevin's fighter. As they broke through the atmosphere, Kevin could see the medical facility, a beautiful crystal structure that glowed with soft blue light, now surrounded by Vorthan ground forces. Zara, can you get us close enough for me to make a run at the facility? I'll get you close. But Kevin, there are hundreds of ground troops down there. Then I guess I better be fast. Kevin launched from the Celestial Dawn's fighter bay, diving toward the medical complex at maximum speed. Vorthan fighters rose to intercept him, but he was ready. His months of training with different alien tactics had made him a more versatile pilot than ever before. He rolled inverted, diving between 2 Vorthan interceptors and firing a spread of plasma bolts that took out both ships. As he approached the facility, he could see peaceful ones running toward evacuation ships, their delicate, butterfly-like forms moving with surprising speed. This is Kevin to Medical Facility Command, he transmitted. What's the status on data extraction? Colonel Martinez, came a relieved voice. This is Dr. Harmony. We've downloaded 90% of the records, but we need another 10 minutes. 10 minutes was an eternity in combat. Kevin looked at his tactical display. More Vorthan fighters were incoming, and the facility's defenses were failing. You've got your 10 minutes, Doctor. I'll make sure of it. What followed was the most intense dogfight of Kevin's career. He weaved between the crystal spires of the medical facility, using them as cover while engaging wave after wave of Vorthan fighters. His plasma cannons overheated twice, forcing him to rely on evasive maneuvers while they cooled down. Kevin! Zara's voice crackled through the comm. 3 more squadrons incoming from the north. Kevin's ammunition was running low, his shields were at 30%, and his left engine was showing stress fractures. But the peaceful ones were still evacuating, and Dr. Harmony needed more time. That's when he heard a new voice on the emergency frequency. "This is Captain Rex Starblaster of the Stellar Rangers. Sorry we're late to the party, boys." Kevin looked up to see a dozen Ranger ships diving out of the clouds, their weapons blazing. The Rangers were known for their flashy flying and dramatic entrances, but they were also some of the best pilots in the galaxy. "Rex, am I glad to see you?" Kevin called out. "Can you cover the evacuation ships?" "Already on it, Earth boy." "Rangers, form up on me." With the Rangers handling the evacuation escort, Kevin was free to focus on the data extraction. He landed his damaged fighter near the medical facility and ran inside, meeting Dr. Harmony at the main computer core. The peaceful one was tall and graceful, with iridescent wings that fluttered nervously as she worked. "Colonel, the data transfer is complete, but the Vorthons are breaking through our outer defenses." Kevin could hear weapons fire getting closer. "Is there a back exit?" "Yes, but it leads directly into their ground forces." Kevin checked his sidearm, half a charge left. "Doctor, I need you to trust me. When I say run, you run for that exit and don't look back." "Understood." She nodded, her large, gentle eyes filled with determination despite her species' peaceful nature. Kevin kicked open the rear door and immediately dove left as Vorthon energy bolts scorched the air where he'd been standing. There were at least 20 enemy soldiers between them and the evacuation point. "Run!" he shouted. Kevin laid down covering fire, his training with different alien weapons serving him well as he picked up a fallen Vorthon energy rifle. The weapon felt strange in his hands, but he adapted quickly, using its higher rate of fire to keep the enemy pinned down. Dr. Harmony ran with surprising speed, her wings helping her leap over obstacles and debris. Kevin followed, fighting a running battle through the facility's gardens and courtyards. They reached the evacuation point just as the last transport was preparing to leave. Kevin practically threw Dr. Harmony aboard before diving in himself as Vorthon forces converged on their position. "Go, go, go!" he shouted to the pilot. As their transport lifted off, Kevin watched the medical facility disappear in a massive explosion. The Vorthons were destroying what they couldn't capture, standard procedure for them. "The data?" Kevin asked Dr. Harmony. She patted a small crystal storage device. "Safe. Every record, every file. The resistance network is secure." Back in space, Kevin transferred to the Celestial Dawn and took stock of the battle. They'd lost 6 ships but saved over 3,000 peaceful ones and, more importantly, protected the Resistance's intelligence network. "Not bad for impossible odds," Zara said as she helped him out of his damaged flight suit. "The Rangers made the difference. Rex and his people fight like maniacs, but they get results. Speaking of which, he's requesting permission to come aboard. Says he wants to discuss something with us." Captain Rex Starblaster was exactly what Kevin had expected: tall, ruggedly handsome, with an easy smile and confident swagger. His uniform was a mix of different alien styles, and he wore enough weapons to outfit a small army. "Colonel Martinez," Rex said, clasping Kevin's hand firmly. "Hell of a fight down there. You've got some serious skills for an Earth boy. Thanks for the assist, Captain. Your timing was perfect. Lucky coincidence. We were in the area chasing some pirates when we heard the distress call." Rex's expression grew more serious. "But that's not why I wanted to talk. Mind if we speak privately?" In the Celestial Dawn's conference room, Rex got straight to the point. "The Rangers want in." Kevin raised an eyebrow. "In what?" "The Resistance. This whole alliance thing you've got going. We've been watching what you're building and we're impressed." Zara leaned forward. "The Stellar Rangers have always been independent. Why the change of heart?" "Because the Vorthons are bad for business," Rex replied bluntly. "They don't just conquer worlds. They strip them bare and leave nothing behind. No trade, no commerce, no freedom. If they keep expanding, there won't be anywhere left for free pilots to operate." Kevin understood. The Rangers weren't joining out of altruism. They were joining for survival. But their reasons didn't matter as much as their skills. "What are you offering?" Kevin asked. 250 of the best independent pilots in the galaxy, plus our mobile base stations and repair facilities. We know every smuggling route, every hidden base, every backdoor passage in this part of space. It was a generous offer. The Rangers would bring not just ships and pilots, but invaluable intelligence about the galaxy's hidden paths and secret places. There's just one condition, Rex continued. We maintain our command structure. Rangers follow Ranger orders, not resistance bureaucrats. Zara looked at Kevin, who nodded slightly. It was a reasonable request. Agreed, Zara said. Welcome to the Alliance, Captain Starblaster. As Rex left to inform his people of their new partnership, Kevin felt a surge of optimism. The resistance was growing stronger every day, adding not just ships and weapons but knowledge and experience. We might actually have a chance, he said to Zara. More than a chance, she replied, moving closer to him. Kevin, what you did today, leading that battle, saving those people, you're becoming the symbol this alliance needs. I'm just doing my job. No, you're doing much more than that. Species that have never trusted humans are following your lead. Pilots who've never worked together are learning from your tactics. You're not just training them, you're inspiring them. Kevin felt uncomfortable with the praise. He'd never wanted to be a symbol or a leader of anything beyond his own squadron. But he was beginning to understand that the resistance needed more than just military coordination. It needed hope. There's something else, Zara continued. Intelligence reports suggest the Vorthans are planning something big. All their recent attacks have been probing actions, testing our responses. How big are we talking? A massive offensive possibly aimed at cutting the Alliance in half. If they can break our communication lines and isolate our member species. Kevin didn't need her to finish. Divide and conquer, the oldest military strategy in any galaxy. Do we have any idea where they'll strike? 3 possible targets. The hub station at Crossroads, the Andorian shipyards, or... She paused. Or what? Earth. Kevin felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. Earth was the Alliance's command center, its symbol of hope. If the Vorthans could destroy or capture humanity's homeworld, it would shatter the Resistance's morale. How long do we have? Our best estimate is 6 weeks, maybe less. 6 weeks to prepare for the largest battle in galactic history. Kevin looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them, a massive enemy fleet was preparing to strike at everything he held dear. Then we better get busy, he said. It's time to call in every favor, every ally, every ship we can find. This is what we've been building toward. As the Celestial Dawn jumped to hyperspace, beginning a desperate race to gather the Alliance's forces, Kevin realized that his simple rescue mission had led to this moment, the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. But he wasn't facing it alone. Beside him stood Zara, the woman he loved, and behind them stretched an alliance of worlds united in their determination to remain free. The real war was about to begin.